Sure. Start. Yes. Start.
A very good morning to you all. And I thank Sri Jayesh Sahaji for taking the initiative because we also wanted to have a seminar with different stakeholders, and you being most important of them all, I think. I thank the organizers. I congratulate Sri Prabhu on this wonderful book as he has written on this very contemporary subject. Actually, we have this kind of planned programs where we have these awareness sessions and outreach programs or seminars or webinars where we kind of educate the stakeholders, the SSCs mainly, and some associations also like yours, where it's not that you only or the participants only benefit, we also benefit a lot. So we have prepared the presentation in a way that we have left out the provisions etc. to you, because I think you are already well versed with those provisions. So we will not talk about provisions with you. So we have planned with our team in a way that we give you an idea as to the problems that we face while dealing with your problems, and what we expect from you and what you can, in the meantime, tell us what is expected of us. So it's a kind of interactive thing where we will tell you about the traces, the side of the traces that we look at and we operate on. But before that, I'll just take 5 or 10 minutes. Most of you might already be aware of the things, but the provisions of the TDS or the TDS mechanism as such is a kind of indirect taxes, where the TDS is deducted on certain transactions subject to certain conditions, of course, irrespective of the income of the payee. So the provisions doesn't take into account the income of the payee on the payment of which the TDS is supposed to be deducted. Like you go and buy a soap in a kirana shop, sales tax or the VAT is already gone with the prices, irrespective of what you are earning. So TDS operates in the same fashion. The basic, I think, the advantage that the government has with this TDS scheme is that there are a lot of taxpayers involved, small taxpayers. The government finds it difficult to reach to those taxpayers and collect taxes. So I think the world over, they devised this wonderful scheme where they made the deductors as their partners in tax collection. Because deductors are fewer in number, so the government or the sovereign can interact with the deductors and make them responsible. In turn, of course, it increases the compliance cost and puts additional burden on them, sometimes punitive also. So I think that is the basis of this scheme. Another reason is that, as they call, is that pay as you earn. So on the transaction, within a month, the deductor pays the tax. And within a quarter, return is filed. So the government is aware of how much transactions have been undertaken, how much tax we are supposed to get, is there any shortfall, etc., etc. So this is a very ingenious scheme. So you can say the role of deductor has been very important role in this scheme. Otherwise, the tax collection is the job of the sovereign, as you know. Now, over a period of time, the scheme has taken shape as a more systems driven and more mechanism driven and less discretion resting with the officers of the department. So you might yourself have seen that a lot of forms have been prescribed, lot of systems, lot of procedures has been taken online where you can go to the traces site, which has come up very nicely, although there are shortcomings. You can go on the website and you can lodge your request, complaints, grievances, etc., refunds, etc. You can now apply for online. So this is a very sea change if you look at it from the point of the deductor. Earlier, the rates were very higher in many cases, 20%, 25%, 15%. Now, recently, the rates have been coming down. For example, in commission, the rate has come down. The threshold limit has also been increased. And for example, other provisions have been put into place like 194 IA, which caters to a lot of property transactions. But the requirement of having a TAN has been done away with. So even if you have a PAN and you are entering into a property transaction, you can pay the TDS. So recently there are new provisions also. So how the change has taken place, see, from the tax collection to the plugging the tax evasions loopholes also. So recently you might have seen that there are very new provisions like 194R, 194O, 194S, B, BB, etc., which cater to the new field of businesses where the transactions are carried out in a different fashion than they would have been carried out earlier. So the brick and mortar kind of business model has given way to the digital businesses, digital transactions. So that's why these new sections like 194O, which deals with the e-commerce operators, 194S which deals with the online games, and BB, which I think is the BB is online games, I think. S is for the digital cryptocurrency, etc. Now, in all these schemes, role of the representative, the CAs, the ITP is very important because let us take an example of the grievance where the taxpayer or the deductor has a grievance, the payee has a grievance. Now, it is a natural tendency that they will approach the ITP or the representative that they know. So it is very important, your role is very important that you guide them properly and you make them aware that, look, these are the documents or the details which are required so that your grievance is resolved, within a short span of time. You might also be aware about the Citizens Charter where they have prescribed certain time limits for redressing the grievance, say CP grams or through e-Nivaran portal. And government as well as department has been focusing on reducing this time. Although officially it may 30 days, but let me tell you that our superior officers follow it up at every 15 days. So because the grievance brings a bad name, and the payee who suffers because, say, tax credit is not available to him. So they have to run from pillar to post. So to avoid this problem, this online mechanism has been put in place. And department's focus is on reducing these grievances, resolving them as soon as possible with the lesser number of grievances. But let me tell you, we are receiving a huge number of grievances, e-Nivaran, etc. Many of the times, those are not very big cases, but people are not aware who to approach and what documents to give. They think that once we have filed the grievance in the e-Nivaran portal, it should be resolved. But it is not like that, because the officer also needs certain documents to proceed, to act on the complaint. Now, I have earlier also acted in TDS in Ahmedabad as a deputy commissioner, and I can see the sea change from that time to this time, where a lot of things have gone online, and CPC, TDS as well as Traces portal has come up very nicely. So many of the things have improved a lot. Even now, there is a lot of scope for improvement. So going forward, I see the lesser number of grievances, the time taken in resolving the grievances reducing to a lot, and hopefully the compliance burden eases, because many of things may become automatic, the processes and the transactions going online. So with these words, I will end my this introduction, and I will invite the Kalpana madam, who is take the presentation further. And the question answer, as you have been told, will be taken after the all the sessions are over. Thank you very much.
A very good morning to all present here, the participants as well as the organizers. So, very energetic and interesting start by our additional CIT. Thank you, sir, for that. We have to maintain it till the end of the session. So, basically, this is a knowledge building program initiated by TDS range 1 to Mumbai under the guidance of our Honorable Commissioner of Income Tax, Shri Mudit Nagpal sir, and our range head additional CIT, Shri Rajneesh Yadav sir. This type of knowledge building programs, this has been mandated by the Central Board of Direct Taxes for increasing awareness amongst the various stakeholders, and also aims for better TDS compliance. So such type of program will definitely bring a change, will definitely bring to us a better compliance, and will lead to decrease in number of TDS related grievances and various types of defaults. Where we are during this session, we are focusing on the grievances, because at present time, the portals of nearly all AOs that are over flooded with the grievances. We are overburdened. We are overburdened with, especially my charge, that is over flooded with 26 QB correction applications. So we have focus on these grievances, how we can resolve these grievances at the earliest, and what cooperation we need from the taxpayers for early disposal of these grievances. Our range TDS range 1, 2, we have already done around 45 webinars and seminars during this financial year. And we were in touch with this CPE study circle since October. And finally, we are here for this program. So I thank convener Ms. Purvi and deputy convener Vijeta Jaiswal madam. I also thank Mr. Jayesh Shah, who helped in coordinating with the CPE study circle and helped us in making this event happen today. So we will cover basically the grievances today. I will cover the brief introduction and importance of TDS, grievances, different type of grievances, corrections, 197 related grievances, why they are disposed late, major demands or demand management. These type of grievances will be covered by Mr. Suresh Kumar Kolachina sir and Prabhat Pandey, and CA Mr. Jayesh Soni. Ravi Soni, sorry. Mr. Ravi Soni, he is also present on behalf of us for helping us in replying to your queries during the session. So a very brief introduction of TDS that sir has already given all of you, but I will still read out the slide. The Income Tax Department of India introduced the concept of TDS to deduct tax from every source of income. Tax deduction is one of the means of collection of direct taxes. It is one form of advance tax. TDS constitutes nearly 40% of the direct tax collections. From the data, we can see that in the year 2015, the TDS collections amount to nearly 32% of the gross direct tax receipts, which have come to 40% during the financial year 22-23. TDS is an indirect mechanism. We all know, as sir has already discussed, pay as you earn and collect as it is being earned. It facilitates sharing of responsibility of tax collection between the deductor and the tax administration, as the responsibility of deducting the tax comes to the deductor. It ensures regular inflow of cash resources to the government. It acts as a powerful instrument to prevent tax evasion as well as expands the tax net. I will discuss this later also. Tax is deducted at the time of accrual of income and remitted to the government account, and later this taxpayer will get the credit at the time of filing of return of income that we all know. Then these are the provisions. Chapter 17B of the Income Tax Act, it deals with the provisions of tax deducted at source. Sections 190 to 206B deals with TDS. 190 provides deduction of tax at source as one of the modes of collection of income tax in respect of an income. Then section 191, it is a safeguard to revenue. The transactions in respect of which the TDS provisions are not applicable, in those type of transactions, the assessee has to pay the tax directly, where TDS provisions are not applicable. Now the importance of TDS, why TDS is important. It helps in preventing the tax evasion. We all know that TDS is helpful in minimizing the tax evasion, as the TDS is deducted at the time of payment only. It is the payment is made to the pay after already deducting the tax. So there is minimal chance of tax evasion. Then it acts as an interim revenue source for the government of India. We know that there are certain type of transactions on which TDS provisions are applicable, and these and the TDS is deducted at the time of payment, and it has to be paid before the 7th of every month. So there is a regular inflow of funds in the government funds. So this TDS helps in maintaining the liquidity of funds. It helps in maintaining the liquidity of funds with the government, so that the government can take various infrastructural and developmental projects for the development of the country. Ease of tax collection, as the tax is collected at the point of payment to the pay, so it is very easy to collect tax. Expansion of tax base. TDS, it is also helpful in expanding the tax base. We all know that progressively the number of taxpayers is being increased during recent years. During recent years, there are many new provisions that have been introduced in the under the purview of TDS. For example, 194N, 194Q, TDS on trading of cryptocurrency. Many new provisions have come into force. 194Q TDS on purchase above 50 lakhs, though it is 0.1%, the rate is 0.1%, still the transaction can be tracked. the transaction can be tracked and traced. Then convenient tax payment for the taxpayers, very convenient. This is the responsibility of the deductor to deduct. So pay just when he or she is going to file the return, he will automatically get the credit for the same. He doesn't have to calculate against that payment again to go for tax filing. Then this TDS provisions promote transparency. We all know that at the time of filing of TDS statement, various details have been filled. For example, details of the deductor, name, its TAN, details of the deductee, name and PAN, amount that is being paid, section under which section which can definitely tell which type of transaction took place between the two parties. So we have a record about what type of transaction has taken place between the two parties. So it promotes transparency. It also acts as a tracking and tracing instrument. If someone wants to track this transaction, he can go 5 years back and through the TDS statement, as all the details are available, so he can track what has been done in the last 5 years. So this was just a brief introduction of TDS. We are not during this session, we are not going to discuss about various TDS provisions. We have made focus only on grievances, because I have already told you, sir has already told that the charges have been not only flooded but over flooded with grievances. And we also want its early disposal. So there is a type of cooperation what we need from the taxpayers. So your fraternity, the people present here, through you, we can reach more and more people. Means in place of contacting each and every taxpayer, we can contact through you a large number of taxpayers. So today we will discuss the type of grievances and how they can be avoided. Types of grievances, how can they be avoided? What are the documents that are required so that the early disposal of these grievances can be met? This is a graphical representation depicting the increase of TDS in gross direct tax receipts that I have already discussed, that in 2015-16 it was 32%. And now during financial year 22-23, it reached up to 39%. So next is the grievances that will be discussed by the speakers, Prabhat Pandey and Kolachina sir, Suresh Kumar Kolachina sir. Now I would like to request Suresh sir to proceed with the session further. Thank you.
Very good morning to all who is present here. Now, what I want to cover in this session is regarding the grievances and how we can avoid the grievances first of all. And if grievance will come, how we have what we expect from you and how it can be solved. This is basically as Kalpana madam said and sir Rajni sir told, we have a lot of grievances nowadays. Basically, because of the small mistakes, what it is just a human error, because of which we have grievances. So this grievance redressal mechanism is introduced in order to redress promptly and in a smoother manner and faster manner. और दूसरा बात है, and next thing is those who are genuinely having problems should not be to get rid of this type of problems. So, okay, thank you. So objectives of the grievance redressal mechanism is prompt redressal of every public grievance which we receive from time to time. There is a time limitation for every grievance we receive. We have to do in a timely manner and safeguarding the rights and dignity of taxpayer in a democratic manner. So this is very important. So because the safeguarding rights and doing any grievance redressal, we will also feel very happy whenever we redress one grievance. So sometimes we cannot do it in a timely manner because of the lack of some documents or lack of some documents or some things which we require. Okay, so we receive basically three types of grievances like CP grants. These are directly monitored by board and PMO's office. It will also come from PMO's office and CBDT. And second type of grievances, this is e-Nivaran, which directly comes to us. And third one is paper grievance. This grievance may come from any form of the either from the board, either from our office, CIT's office, additional office, and directly some persons may put in our charge also. So, but however, we will have to redress every grievance what we receive. So basically, what are the nature of grievances we receive? Basically, see, this session is only to share our experience as a TDS officer. So basically what we see from the system, what we see from the traces, what we see and what we deal with each and every person on day-to-day basis. This we are try to convey you these things only. This is so what are the basic grievances which we receive? Basically, TDS deducted non-deposited is the basic grievance which we receive first. And TDS not deducted not deposited is also, but it is very rare condition. So TDS deducted not deposited is a main condition. And some other CP grants we receive because of the demand raised by the our CPC. Why CPC will raise demands? Because in most of the 26 cubic cases where I am seeing that the director is making a lot of mistakes while filing that challans and form. So nowadays we have a lot of grievances on these issues. 26 cubic is basically very big issue which we are receiving on day-to-day basis. So why these grievances will come? Okay, so first is only I think 1% is like regular defaulters who are habitual in not deducting, not depositing this TDS. So this is very rare. I'm not telling everybody is doing, but 1% is 2%. So there is a control mechanism for the income tax department, especially for our TDS. They will always we have control mechanism to take care of such cases. So there are several stringent sections which will take care of such persons, such like all you know that 201 is the default for and 201 money interest is there. 271H is for inaccurate filing or non-filing of the in time, and 272G is for not giving Form 16, and also there is prosecution because prosecution will play a vital role in the TDS especially. So 276B will come into the picture for those who are regular defaulters, and also 277A wherever anybody wants to falsify their books of accounts or want to show something else to the department, then also we will penalize with 277A is also the prosecution for them. So basically for these persons it is exceptional cases. But what about regular? Why most of the grievances will come to us because of some of the things, because of wrong PAN. How wrong PAN? one PAN contains 10 digits, which first four are numeric, 4 are letters numeric, इसके बाद 4 वो आएगा, इसके बाद last आती है. इसमें क्या होती है कि third one is your status, P is for, but that is fourth one is okay, fourth one is for that. So P is in the all graph is, so when typing you make one letter to here and there, that will goes to one. So once you put the wrong PAN, it is taken as an invalid PAN. System will take it as an invalid PAN, and what will do, it will take it as 206 EAA. Then the provisions of section 206 EAA will be applied and 20% demand will be raised. So you have deducted TDS at the rate of 2,000 and you put a wrong 10. So it will goes to 20%, and that credit will not goes to the correct person. This is the basic major problem for the grievances. Second one is wrong time. How wrong time? Actually, in time, if you put some digit here, there, or you put a P for the sake of P, if you put F, so it will take as invalid. But in time, the combinations are very less. If in the time, first 3 letters will be of your jurisdiction, 4th letter will be your initial letter, then five numeric numbers, and last is letter. So if your name starts with X enterprise, and if you put Y, sometimes it will take system, because Y may also be there. Even Y is also maybe there. So this will goes to some other person. So you want to put to some person, some X you want to give credit to X, it will go to Y. So it will create a lot of problem. So another thing is putting of assessment year, financial year. Here, so many confusion. Some persons who are doing this work, they will confuse between financial year and assessment year. They want to put 22, 23, they put 23, 21, 22, something else like that, because sometimes it will happen. So these are the basic mistakes what are we have faced till date. So how you can avoid these mistakes? Basically, what happens? Most of the times you have to check whether the PAN is active or not. If the PAN is not used for much days, it will become inactive. So if you do something on that PAN, then also it will consider as invalid and 206 EAA will be applied. So please try to verify whether the PAN is active or not while doing the payment of challan or something, payment statement, something you are filing. And another one is, this is very important thing, as on date, this is government agenda is also linking your PAN with Aadhaar in all cases. So we are seeing, we have received a lot of 26 QB issues on this only, because some person who is very old person, he has not linked PAN and Aadhaar, and he has sold some property. The party who is purchasing the property has already deducted TDS and paid. But CPC is giving demand notice for this PAN is not linked, so you have to pay 20%. So there is a lot of problem. If you have to verify, you have to be cautious. So linking of PAN and Aadhaar is the main agenda of our government also, and it will be very helpful also in monitoring all the transactions. Okay, and whenever any TDS has to be deducted, or in order to file some challan or some statement, please obtain copies of Xerox copy of such PAN. Don't take an phone. Sometimes we wait. Okay, what is your PAN? Okay, I will do it. No, don't do it. Please try to take some Xerox copies or some and do it properly. Then due diligence also TDS. A deduction TDS while deducting TDS, you should be very due diligent. See, in 194C, if you say per se, there is 2 types of TDS. One is 2%, one is 1%. So one X enterprises is there. you have already given some operator, you have already dealt with one X enterprise, which is a super operator, and you have deducted TDS 1%. Now, if it may be partnership form, so you should be very careful while deducting TDS, and all know there is a lot of discussion about 194C and C, whether TDS has to be deducted on the A or C. I won't want to go into these sections because you are all much more aware of these things. Why you are dealing with these TDS provisions on day-to-day times. Okay, so if mistake has already happened in something, so it can be rectified, and the department has some mechanism to rectify such mistakes. So basically, what mistakes we regularly see on our systems, why CPgrams, ENEVAMs mostly come are two types mostly. One is Form 26B correction, and second one is Challan correction. So there are 26 QB corrections, as madam said, it is flooding like anything. 26 QB correction is flooding like anything because mistake has already happened. Something in deducting TDS or assessment or something. So how it can be rectified and what is the how we can correct it? And basically what we have done till date. We have to do a lot of things, but basically rank 10, assessment year, financial year. These are the things mostly what we correct in the 26Q. So in case if there is any correction required in any of these 26QB correction, initially what we expect from you is application, one general application form, writing in detail what are the what correction you require to be made and what happened, why it was happened. In putting TAN, there is a inputting TAN, there is a something mistake. In putting assessment here, there is mistake. In some other mistake, you have to write and what you require to correction that you should be written. And here one thing, copy of challan, अपना copy of आपका PAN TAN of you, and the person who in this case you want rectification also copies. Please bring that copies also. And the one copy of challan, that in the challan in which the mistake has happened, the copy of challan also is required, and bank statement highlighting the payment. Whatever payments you have made, that payment also be highlighted, and especially in the case of TAN correction, if strong TAN has been typed, in case of one TAN, another TAN was typed. So the objection of the person, no objection of the person, in whose name already you have given that the challan, you have that person's no objection is must. It should be there. It should be there, and one indemnity bond, indemnifying, it is a 500 rupees stamp paper. Okay, the on the 500 rupees stamp paper, duly notarized. Remember it, duly notarized stamp paper. Writing to in the name of President of India, what is this is formula format for that. So that indemnity bond also should be accompanied. If all these documents will be provided along with your application, 26QB correction will be done in 4 to 5 days. But
26QB correction, sorry, I'm again. You're asking for indemnity bond. In the case where only date was wrongly mentioned.
Okay. Okay.
Date of payment date of agreement was mentioned.
Okay.
Demand was raised because of the payment.
Okay.
Now when I make a correction only in the dates,
Okay.
I don't understand what is the requirement of the indemnity bond and what about the no objection to the ban, because everything is okay. There is only mistake in the date because of the demand has come.
See, I am talking about TAN correction. I am not talking about.
But there are cases where the department is asking for all these documents, even there is a correction in the date.
Okay.
I mean, I don't understand what is the logic of adding indemnity bond, where is government revenue going in this?
Okay.
The extra things are unnecessarily being asked by the government.
Because why you have asked a very good question. One second. 1 second. It is why independent bond is required in case you have done it. There is no intent, no other intention, no issue. But sometimes some people will do with other intention. Then
Everything is clear.
independent.
We are just justifying this kind of comment on all cases.
Okay. Okay.
But we can ask.
So if I have understood correctly, you are saying a case where the date of agreement is different,
And they can pay in installments, right?
payment has been made in installments.
When I put the date of payment,
Okay,
that was then I put the date of agreement. So the
Okay.
department considered interest, right, from the date of agreement to the date of payment. So I made a correction and corrected the date.
and you are giving a proof of date of payment.
It is, challenge is already there.
So, see, you are right. Many times it happens that they have made a standardized set of list of queries and documents. So what you can tell the officer that, sir, in my case, this is the only issue. That's why, maybe that's why these interactions will help. Then you can meet a senior officers. See, let me tell you, I have not seen anybody coming to me. Maybe you can reason with me that the assessing officers are burdened with a lot of work. So, you are right, but then they don't understand at that point of time.
It should be made understand what.
That why the representatives should lead one step higher, and they can reason with them. Maybe we can devise a mechanism, we can prepare a different list for different kind of issues that they are facing.
The one question, why this is coming to you, because when I'm having correction return automatically, your system should see that the date is okay, channel date is okay.
System is not able to see maybe the date of payment. How the system will verify?
Channel is there, putting the date, channel is already there.
Transaction is for payment of tax. What about the date of transaction? You have to, but the system wants to verify.
In normal cases, they don't verify, in such cases, they want to verify.
System will never verify.
Question I say, you can take later on.
But they can do it postpone that, let them complete the session. So afterwards we can have the discussion, please.
Okay, here, the important issue is, we require these documents in a PDF format below the size of 2 MB. All the documents in one PDF file that is below 2 MB. So it will be uploaded in the system, then actually how it mechanism will I will explain. Once you raise 126 QB through traces, it will randomly given to some officer. It will not go to your jurisdictional officer. Please, this is the not going to your officer. If your letter is D, it will come to that D letter officer. If it is yes, it will not come to S letter officer. It will randomly be given to some officer. He will verify it. He will upload all these documents in the system. He will complete the system. Then he will send to the officer who is having jurisdiction over your case. Then they have to complete the procedure. And please remember it. Only after 15 days of the error, only this can be done. Before 15 days, it cannot be done. So many people will rush. One problem 26 QB, they put some problem, they will run to the TDS section asking for correction. So I'm telling you, this is 15 days you have to wait before you have to raise that grievance. And please try to provide documents which are required. Okay. This is also channel correction is also the similar to that of that 26 QB correction. Here also documents required are here, and it is also the same manner. You have to give in the 2 MB below 2 MB PDF. all the documents should be given in the 2MB, okay? So this is the you can submit request through traces portal, which will be what I have told you already. It will not go to your officer directly. It will go to some officer. He will check. He will verify. He will put all the documents in the system. Then it will goes to your main officer. He will approve that thing. So you have to the event. You have to wait 15 days before filing the application, because the system will take 15 days to show. So actually, whenever any person is going for a grievance like CP Gram, E-Nivaran, or they will just write one, two liners and they will put that grievance to us. They will never give any, they will not giving any documents or something. So what we want from you is a detailed note of the grievance, quoting the correct PAN, TAN of you and on whom you are raising grievance. So copy of the bank statement of the payments, payment received or made, and such a all other documents which are required, like copy of agreement, bill, sale deed, whatever if you have any raised bills. And also, if it is not reflected in 26S, please provide a copy of 26S not reflecting such transaction. Please try to provide. Also, if you have any convenience, you may provide the contact numbers of you and the person on whom you have some grievance. Because in the grievance, we have to write to the person on whom you are putting that grievance. So if all these documents are readily available with us, we can put him, we can confess him with the grievance, and we can make them to do the grievance redressal within, and grievance redressal will be done in a smoothly manner. Okay. So this is there is no much time. So this is the CBDT's letter through which we are doing all these things. Corrections statement, come challan, sale of property 26 QB correction is done as per this letter. So these are the important information about the 26 QB corrections. So by your span, what I have told you already, these are required documents. Okay. These are the steps which are there for doing 26 QB correction. Okay. So we don't. This is the already I have more or less discussed each and everything in a simple manner. That's it. So I will take another one little 5-6 minutes for one thing. So sometimes we will take TAN for 26 QB correction, 26 QB payment for property, something we will obtain TAN. So after some time we don't require the TAN. So we will go for deactivation of the TAN. So whenever you want to deactivate the TAN, what are some documents are required, like letter of authority of the person and along with their identity card, and there should not be any demand in the traces before filing that application. You should be ensured that before you giving the application, and also verify whether the TAN is not inactive. Inactive TAN cannot be deactivated. So these are the some of the things which we require. Okay. So now I will take. I'm closing my session here. I request Mr. Prabhat Pandey to take the. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you to all of you for coming on a Sunday morning in such large numbers. Thank you, JSG and Purvi, for having us, NJP Study Circle. So I'll just rush through a very important topic. First of all, everyone comfortable in English as well as in Hindi? We'll keep it bilingual. So, as Rajnish Yadav sir has explained, and Kalpana madam said, and Suresh sir, about the grievances and the importance of TDS. So, amongst that topic, if we see the demands and the mistakes that are committed and the defaults, that is a very important part of TDS. So demand collection for TDS section is a very important target as per our central action plan. So we have to give utmost importance to that. तो अगर हम डिमांड देखें तो मेजरली 4 तरह की डिमांड और डिफॉल्ट होते हैं. So in that we have the short deduction, short payment, interest and late filing fees. So in 4 demands में there are certain demands that are rectifiable. So demands which are created due to some of the mistakes committed by the SSC. तो वो demands SSC को रेक्टिफाई करना है. पहले तो ये ट्राई करना है कि वो मिस्टेक्स कमिट ना हो, जिससे कि ऐसी डिमांड रेज हो जो हमारे पोर्टल पे दिखें. वी हैव टू फॉलो अप विद द SSC. Then the SSC comes to us and tells us ki give us the bifurcation of those demands. So when we joined the TDS, we sent a lot of demand notices. So in most of the cases, SSC used to come and tell us ki iska mujhe bifurcation de dijiye. So we have to tell them that you can download the justification report yourself and see what sorts of demands are there. तो एक तो through you all हमको SSC को ये बताना है. We have to make them aware that they should look what the demands are, what sort of demands are. कौन सी डिमांड वो रेक्टिफाई कर सकता है और कौन सी क्रिस्टलाइज डिमांड्स. जैसे कि अगर हम इंटरेस्ट और लेट फाइलिंग फीस देखें तो दोज आर क्रिस्टलाइज डिमांड्स. इंटरेस्ट फॉर द शॉर्ट पेमेंट, short deduction you can always rectify and those demands can be nullified. But for interest and late filing fees, these are crystallized demands. तो वो तो SSC को भरना ही है. So for that you don't need any bifurcation or anything. You should just pay those demands. So major demands अगर हम देखें तो short payment की पहली डिमांड जैसे मैंने बताया for because of चालान mismatch. So if you put the wrong receipt number or the challan serial number, this challan mismatch demand can be raised. So we should always try that this sort of demand is not committed by us. This sort of default is not committed, and we put the proper challan and everything. So there was an interesting case. I am telling from challan mismatch point of view. कि one SSC उसने पैसा नहीं भरा. He just filed the return with XYZ any चालान for all the 4 quarters. तो उससे क्या हुआ कि his tank got blocked. So you have to take care that even if the mistake is bona fide, you should try to avoid such mistakes, because CPC then puts that TAN in a zone which needs consideration from the side of the AO, whether what's the issue, why such mistakes are being committed for every return. तो इसलिए चालान मिसमैच वी शुड ट्राई टू अवॉइड, जिससे कि ऐसी डिमांड ही रेज ना हो जिसको बाद में हमें रेक्टिफाई करनी पड़े. सिमिलरली शॉर्ट डिडक्शन डिमांड क्रिएट हो सकती है. रॉन्ग पैन अगर हम डाल देते हैं तो इफ द पैन इज रॉन्ग द डिमांड विल बी रेज्ड टू 20%, तो फिर उसको हमें रेक्टिफाई करना होगा. सिमिलरली फॉर द सैलरी ऑल्सो वी शुड लुक इनटू इट कि प्रॉपर वर्किंग करें, उसके बाद TDS काटें, जिससे कि बाद में उसका डिफॉल्ट ना आए. Similarly, there are some certain sections in which they are variable rates. For example, 194C, where for individuals you have to cut TDS at the rate of 1%, for companies and firms at 2%. So if there is that issue where we have to deduct TDS at 2%, we have deducted 1%, then that demand will be raised. So for that, what I have noticed is that for the smaller SSEs, in many cases, the accountants are also doing this. So through you all, we request that you should make the SSC aware कि what sort of common mistakes he should not commit, so that such defaults which are later to be rectified are not committed. Similarly, short deduction, lower deduction certificates are there in many cases. So for that you have to put the correct certificate number and the correct rate. Otherwise there will be demand which needs to be rectified at a later date. Similarly, interest on late payment is there. So this is a demand that is crystallized, which I was talking previously. So interest on late payment and the late filing fees that the SSC has to pay. So he should not wait for the continuous demand notices from the department. Suo moto, the SSC should make it a point to pay these crystallized demands and should make the necessary rectifications in the demands which can be rectified. So late filing fees and additional late filing fees against the processing of latest correction. So if the quarterly return is filed after the due date, a late levy of 200 rupees per day till the date of file return will be levied. So as Suresh sir also talked about many of the corrections that are there, like 26 QB correction. So उसमें एक point मैं बताना चाहूँगा, there was an interesting case जिससे कि हम ये highlight कर सकते हैं कि what small measures we should take so that no mistake is committed. So what the SSC did was that there was a joint property that was purchased. So there is an option कि you are making the payment in lump sum amount or installment. So the SSC was making the payment installment payment. Okay, but he put lump sum. So the total value of the property was 8 crores. So 1% TDS will be 8 lakhs. But he was making a payment of a lesser amount. But because he put the lump sum as payment, he got a demand. So now वो 26 UB correction file करेंगे and there is a whole lot of process. So these sort of mistakes can be avoided if we pay attention to these small mistakes which we commit. So if we sensitize the SSC regarding these, because 26 UB is mostly in individual cases. So the individual SSC has again to go to the office and then file, then submit documents. So if they take care in these small issues, then such mistakes will not be committed. So rectification of errors. So these are the steps that SSC can take to rectify. So console file can be downloaded. One issue about console file is that the SSC sometimes contacts the department to give us the console file. So console file, as I must tell, it is a very sensitive document. So console file, instead of asking for the console file, the SSC should get his DSC link to the traces. That's the best way out, because console file cannot be given by the department in a routine manner. We have been advised by CPC also in this regard. So the SSC should try to download the console file from the traces, or else link the DSC to the traces portal. Similarly, as I told, justification report, the SSC can download for getting the errors that are committed. So that was all about demands. One important point is there regarding consequences, defaults related to TDS. So in that, one point is important, that if you see the interest for failure to deduct tax is at the rate of 1%, and if the tax has been deducted and it has not been paid, then it is 1.5%. So here we should note that the penalty and the penal provisions for the tax deducted and not paid is of much more gravity. So the SSC should take care that the tax is deducted, and after it is deducted, it is also paid on time. Otherwise, if you can see, there is a provision of prosecution under section 276B, where there is a provision for imprisonment from 3 months to 7 years plus fine. So we should always make sure that we are paying on time the tax which has been deducted, and we are not keeping the government money with us. So that needs to be taken care. Then there are various penalties. 271H is there for failure to furnish TDS statements. So we should make sure that TDS statements are filed on time. Similarly, there are penalty for failure to deliver declaration in form 15G and 15H. Failure to issue certificates, TDS certificates 272A2G. And similarly, there are various penalties, 272A21 for failure to issue a statement of perquisite on profit in lieu of salary. So these are some of the consequences of defaults related to TDS. So we should make sure that we are deducting the TDS on time and we are paying the TDS deducted, so that we don't invite the penal provisions and the various penalties which has been prescribed in the Act. So this is all deductors are required to register on traces. And this is a periodic table of TDS similar to the periodic table of TDS similar to the table we see in chemistry. So this you can always refer. Many of you must be knowing also, and you can also share it with your SSEs and your clients. So here we can see that what sort of payments the TDS has to be directed on payment of credit, and which TDS are for residents, not non-residents. So that's a very nice table that we always share whenever we are doing webinars or such seminars. So I guess that will be all regarding TDS reports. So now we can. Thank you.
We have a small break now of 15 minutes. We'll assemble back. Then some more presentations and question and answers are there. We can read them. Because next session will be running out of time.
Recording started. Recording. No. Sure. करो सर अच्छा अच्छा नीचे नीचे क्वेश्चन
Anybody has the query they can give it in writing? Only that will be either.
We have already received a few queries from the members via Google form. We will be taking those queries first, and then if we have any further queries, kindly forward your queries in writing to the moderator for smooth conduct of the event. Paper and pencil can be arranged from here. I now invite Sri Ashok Banerjee to proceed with the moderation of the question and answer round.
We all were given a Google form. We've compiled those questions and we put in those 24. There were some 24 questions. There are 1 or 2 queries which have been received right now. If you have further queries, you need to write it and give it over here. We'll take it up. The first query. For correction, we request for console files, and to find out the short deductions or late payment interest, we request for justification report. For getting console file, the justification report takes 5 to 6 hours to make available in the traces portal. Can this be shortened, or is this their process which we are doing it wrong?
Shoni will reply. Yeah, please. Hello.
CPC related.
Generally, we take 5 to 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours for requesting the offline console. But if you are doing it online, whenever you request online connection, it will get generated within 1 to 2 minutes or maximum 5 minutes. So I generally advise to my to everyone that if you are doing a connection and it is very urgent, do online connection. So online connection, for online connection, console file is available 5 to 6 minutes, within 5 to 6 minutes. 5 to 6 minutes is also maximum. Generally, it get as soon as you send a request within a seconds, it will get generated and you can just process for the connection. Yeah. For justification report, it will take because the system which is there on the traces portal, they have to dig out the data from the used number of data they have. So you must be aware that if the traces portal is handling so much data, so huge data, so to find out which console file, which order, which calendar, it will take time for them. Because to search the console file for them, and then makes available for you to download. So that's why it is taking 5 to 6 hours. Console file justification report will take 5 to 6 hours, but if you are processing for online connection, it will not take much time, and you can request for online connection.
So with regard to online correction also, the next question is on online correction. Where there is short deduction and interest payment through valid challan, it takes time to reflect on site whether the correction is done or not. Sometimes we have done the correction again in some days as if correction not done. Can you explain why the said issue is cropping up? And the correction also gets rejected at the end of 4 days or 5 days when you get it.
See, whenever you are doing an online correction, for short deduction, not many times, few times in a return, some deductee, the department get, not department purposely ruled, but technically that deductee gets blocked. So if you try to change that deductee anything, that return will get rejected, and once it gets rejected, it will give a reply that the return is rejected because of mismatch in TDS amount or challan amount mentioned in the return. So whenever you get this type of issue, you just raise a grievance on the portal itself. Because this technical issue, why it is generating, they are also not sure why it is generating, but at portal, some time, some deductee get blocked. So if you try to change the deductee anyhow, anything, it will get rejected. So to unblock it, you have to raise a request on the grievance portal that this return has been rejected because of this reason, because of this reason. And then the system from their backend, they will unfreeze it, and afterwards you can make the correction.
So, if you don't mind, can I ask a
Yes.
follow-up question on this? What happens is the same rejection which is done the first time, without unblocking also, when you file it for the second time or third time, it gets done. So actually, it becomes really frustrating for the SSE to keep on doing that process for twice or thrice. And
Identify the reason. I'm saying the blocking reason, whenever there is a blocking reason is there, then it gets processed automatically also, and if it is not getting processed automatically, at the time we make a request. But we have seen that many a time reason that the return get rejected because of poor usage of correction technology. I have filed offline correction, and in meanwhile, I have raised the request and I have done that request also. So at the processing, system will process the first return and it will get rejected, second it will get rejected.
okay,
So a general request that whenever you are doing any online correction, make a request at that time only. It may happen that you are doing the request and after 7 days, after 8 days, after 9 days, we are working on it. So in meanwhile, if someone of your other person has already uploaded online correction, so this online correction will get rejected.
A follow-up question.
Yes.
If the deductee is blocked by the department,
I'm not, deduct is not blocked by the department, the system automatically block, I will say that due to technical error, it is not purposely done by the system, by the department. And not on. Now, I want to see the number.
but how do you unblock? How do you unblock?
Unless you just give this on portal itself, within 5 or 6 hours, it will get,
but why don't department inform us that this is the issue?
department will say the answer, the rejection is the same thing that the challan amount doesn't match with the challan total amount.
I think what you are trying to say is that that particular portal or the page is not user friendly. So if you are going through a process, it is stopping suddenly and it is not giving you any feedback why it has stopped. I think that is what you want to say.
Yes.
So that we can take it up with the CPC. So that it, so I think what I understand from the discussion is that you want it to be made more user friendly. जैसे IRCTC में करते हैं तो बताता है कि भाई आपका पासवर्ड गलत है कुछ ऐसा मैसेज
See, most of the issues with the TDS part is due to the communication gap. What we do it and we don't get the things, and then what sir has told, when we do second time, third time, fourth time,
It gets
and
through.
then it gets through. So we are always confused why it is happening every time.
Sometimes it may be because of the traffic, but if suppose there is some other reason on which you are required to act, I think you should get a feedback.
Yes.
That's what you want.
Yes.
that we can note down.
The live issue now.
Follow question on this.
We'll keep it, so there's already been two follow-up questions. We'll take it at the end. You write it, we'll take it at the end. Because there are some very interesting queries. We'll miss out on that, please. So the most live issue, at the time of filing TDS return, PAN number gets accepted and subsequently we get huge demand of short deduction, stating invalid or inaction active PAN. This should be highlighted at the first stage of feeding PAN during the filing TDS return. How can this be addressed? The deductor cannot be responsible for the invalidity of the PAN of the deductor. Is there a solution?
So I think right now, the PAN database and the TAN database don't speak to each other in the real time basis. So what you want is that the moment you enter the PAN, the system should throw a prompt that, look, this PAN is not linked with Aadhaar, or this particular PAN has not provided the Aadhaar to me, so I will apply this particular session of higher rate.
Yes, that's
I
it.
think this we need to take up at the higher level. So this is not something, see, statutorily, 139 AA and then 114 triple A and the circular with the effective date, etc. All that trickles down to one thing, that the time during which your PAN and Aadhaar was not linked, your PAN was invalid.
But subsequently, if you are doing it, getting linked in your
I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
So suppose in this month you link the assessee, the concerned person links PAN with the Aadhaar. So the circular itself says it will become operative in 1 month. So it's not that something to presume by something. So it says it will become active in 1 month. So that is known in advance. Now, what may be done is that some mechanism so that the deductor knows that this PAN is not linked and I am going into the problem. Now, the follow-up question to that may be that when the person files the return, what happens to that?
connection is subsequently after the PAN has not got linked.
Yeah, okay, I will answer that.
Yeah.
The law does not make any provision for reversal of this penalty method.
That is a problem.
Now, coming on to the page part, whose PAN was not linked, subsequently linked. So what will happen when that person will file the return and claim the, I think if any one of you have any live example that can share what happened in that particular.
Yeah,
case,
so
because
I'm
that
just
is-
coming to that follow-up question.
Yeah.
So what happens is, supposing I have deducted 2% on the amount of 1 lakh rupees. That PAN is not invalid because the Aadhaar is not linked. He raises a demand of 18,000 on me with interest. Now the question is, the fellow is still working for me, he's a labor contractor for me. I pay that 18,000 plus interest and deduct it from his next bill. That's not an issue. The problem that arises, he tells me that I'm not getting credit of that amount.
Is
That-
basically a live example, that's what I.
Yeah, so this is, I can give you the challans, returns, everything with regard to this example of 1 lakh rupee, where the after payment also, because I've deducted from his account and paid it to the government. Now he says that if government, you paid it on my behalf, you put it on my PAN, then I should get that 20,000 as a reduction so that I can claim it. Now this becomes an issue.
I will come to that. That person's identity was not known to the department at the time of transaction, because the PAN was invalid.
Yes.
So this is something subsequent to that. So that again, that problem comes from that, provision itself, that they have not making any, this, provision for reversal.
So can we?
My knowledge suppose.
Yeah, so my suggestion is, can we revise the return and fill up again 20% so that he gets credit? Is there some mechanism whereby I make it into a 20% and then?
Yes, you can, see, whenever the short deduction is there, at that time, you have to file the revised return only. By making only challan payment, the demand will not go. The fact, if you have 80%, 80,000, unless until you don't file a revised return, the demand will not go and that person will not get a benefit.
So
So you have to file a revised return. Now the second question is, after filing of the return, whether that person will get credit or not.
yes,
So for that, first we need to understand that that person till now, whether he has linked the other or not.
yes,
Because this question answer will only come to know at the time of ideal filing. At that time, because in 20 years, it will appear. But if we get credit or not, that question may get come to know only after idea coming out. Currently, the provision says that it will not, but as per my understanding or as per my body with many officers, they say that if the Aadhaar is linked before filing of his income tax return, then he will get the credit of 20,000. But to get credit, the person who has deducted has to file a revised return. If he has not filed a collection return, if only challan is paid, then he will not get credit. Because the department will not come to know who 80,000 you have paid.
Link with the.
Yes.
Sir, I'll tell you the correct fact. The PAN was not linked, the demand was raised.
Yes.
Demand paid, revised return filed after the Aadhaar PAN is linked, after.
Sir,
That guy whose Aadhaar PAN was not linked, was linked, then after the revised return was filed. So that we can get back that 18,000 from the party, but it is still not appearing in 26 days.
No, so till his PAN in the period, like sir said, that till the PAN is invalid, that period credit is not going into the 26 years. I am aware of it because we've had so many cases where we paid it and still it is not going in the PAN of the person who's
department TDS circular is processing is based on the circular which was released on 23rd March 2023. So if as per the circular, it specifically says that that person will not get credit of that TDS. Unless until we as a chartered accountant raise an issue with the CBDT, with the department, stating that this is invalid. This is.
What happens if you don't, the short deduction, the deductor doesn't pay? The deductee pays the tax for the total amount. Then what is the consequence? Government are losing revenue.
No. So I'll come to that. I was just going to ask that question because it's there. So there's a series of questions only on this because this is a live issue. The question that arises is that I have paid the amount, the opposite person has paid his return, filed his return, paid his taxes. Still the demand will get collected from me, which leads to a double taxation on. There is no provision like 40 AIA does not help me with regard to this demand of non-linking of PAN. So is there a process by which this demand can be removed because that fellow has paid the taxes?
Currently, that fellow has already paid. This is the first year. I will also first year also. This is the second quarter. We are running where the PAN are linking there. So if the person has already paid the taxes, he has filed return. Till now, that person is not out.
Yeah.
It will not come. It is the in the future of the
Previous year also, where the question of short deduction was there, genuinely.
genuine short deduction is there, and if the person is already paid, then the procedure is there.
26.
26. Form 26 is there, where the chartered accountant has to approve it, and at that time the short deduction gets removed.
That you do online or physically?
Online. See, online procedure is there, and it is on Traces portal plus e-filing portal. Not only Traces portal, because the request has to be made to Traces portal. It will go to e-filing portal. E-filing portal, deductor has to submit 26C, and CA has to approve, I will say, has to submit annexation, not annexation, and then it will get processed, and the demand from Traces will get removed.
That is only in case of where tax is not deducted.
Short deduction, yes.
Short deduction.
Short deduction. Short deduction.
You don't apply the non-deductible.
Not
We'll not be able to end it. So maybe it is covered in the questions which are there. So just wait till the end. Yeah. So the next query was, there are cases where we find even after payment, late payment, short payment interest, the system shows interest payable and it is not getting resolved in Traces portal. How to resolve the case?
in that case, like I told, similar like short deduction. Same way, if there is an interest on short payment, interest on late payment, you have paid it, but unless until you don't file the revised return and allocate that particular amount to the interest amount. In the online. The system will not.
So then automatically, if you are putting another time, the system should correlate and should remove the demand.
The system will not come to know whether you are making the interest payment or you are paying or you are or other.
Let's listen to the replies. Let's listen to the replies. We'll take it up in
interest portion which was showing in the channel is of no use. The interest portion which you are showing at the time of making of the channel payment is of no use unless until you do allocate the interest amount in the revised return.
So it's like your GST cash register. Unless you allocate that amount to a particular payment, it will not happen.
And then add one more thing, if you paid the charge in interest portion over, then also you can utilize that charge to form other deduction. You can use. So the system will not come to know whether you have actually paid or you have done the error in making the charge.
So
For
yeah,
that purpose, allocation is must. Unless you don't allocate the amount, it will not get you.
you can also say if that amount is not allocated, you can actually take refund of that also. So therefore, unless you allocate it to some amount by filing a revised return, you will not be able to claim.
Say like an income tax, any demand comes, you opt of the challan, it gets removed. Is it a not in?
So tax, for income tax, it is there, it is very easy, because income tax is particular parent pays challan is for particular person. And over here, when I am making the TDS amount, I am making the TDS on, deductor is making the payment on behalf of some other deducting.
Interest and this amount.
Interest also something, unless until you are
Deducted interest.
in the challan portion, system will not come to know whether you have actually made the interest payment or you have done the error by making the payment. Making a time, while making the payment.
It's a system driven thing. It's a system driven thing. So let's move ahead. You need to file a revised return to do it. So it's a system driven thing. Neither we can do anything about it. So if you want to write, you can write to system, DG systems. Yeah. So then the question of unmatched challenge should be reflected at unmatched challenge should be reflected at the time of filing TDS returns. Many times unmatched challenges are get accepted and filed. Later you will receive notice from traces calling for demand. Why is the system not matching challenge at the initial stage?
See, while before preparing of the return system, whatever software you are using, they will ask the CSA file. And if we get matched, all the challan will get matched. If the challan there is any unmatched challan there, it will show you warning. It will not show you error. It will show you warning. And if you want to keep that warning, you can find the return. And at that time, unmatched challan there, the default will happen. System is there. That before filing the return, the challan matching system is there. But since many times when on the last day we are making the payment, warning is there. And we want to already do anybody finally, we will say, okay, warning is there, I am including my warning and I am finding it. So system is there, but we as a around we have to use it.
So the TDS is deducted on a property purchased. It was realized that the PAN was not linked on Aadhaar. The PAN is linked to Aadhaar before making the payments and deductions of TDS. However, now we have received demand notice that the PAN was not linked at the time of agreement and hence higher TDS is required to be paid.
Already discussed over there. It is the same.
Yeah, so it's 26 QB. It is with 26 QB.
The provision for 26 QB or 26 Q, everything would be the same thing only. The only thing is that the date of agreement doesn't matter. The date of deduction is important. If the date of deduction is before PAN Aadhaar linking date.
No, so I'm talking about a case where the linking has happened. Payment is done after the linking of PAN and Aadhaar because it was identified. However, the agreement was already done earlier, and therefore the agreement date is the system is catching the agreement date and creating a demand instead of the payment date. That is the query.
Yes, I think
Here some issues related to system may be there because the TDS liability comes when you are making the payment or you're crediting the amount. Right, so that is the date of deduction would be. In this case, you are saying date of deduction is something different, but system is levying interest from some earlier date, which is some agreement.
Yes.
Whereas for the purpose of previous agreement date is not relevant, right?
Yeah.
So that is this can be rectified by the system. I don't think.
Okay.
Is everybody facing the same?
Yeah.
So it is not getting rectified. Then we can note it down.
Sir, this is the case where I think, so he's saying that it's, they are deducting, they are saying for the deduction of 20%.
No, higher percentage because see here, this problem is they are getting the agreement rate, not the deduction rate.
Yes.
And instead of 1%, they're now taking it 20. So that, no, so that the problem I've already informed them that supposing I have a non-resident person who's represented to me as a resident person, he gives me a PAN card, he enters into an agreement, and after entering into agreement, I make a payment after deduction of 1%. After that, I realize that there is a non-linking of PAN and Aadhaar. That fellow has left the country. He says that he does not have an Aadhaar, so he cannot link. I'm left in a soup with a huge liability of 19% plus interest on crores of rupees of property, which makes it really impossible for anyone. So as of today, like we were discussing with them, there is a system where you can find out whether the PAN or Aadhaar is linked. So it is available from September 21. There's a circular and a process provided. I'm giving that circular to the members, they'll circulate it. So that is available for TAN numbers. But for taxpayers, that system is yet not implemented. It has been recently implemented. But some transaction which has happened in the second quarter, there's a big difficulty of how do I come to know whether the PAN or Aadhaar is linked or not. But that's something which cannot be addressed at this stage. One needs to take it up at the higher. So there is this 26 cubic query. The property is bought by two people jointly, husband and wife. The payment is made by husband's account. The TDS is to be deducted in two names, both husband and wife, or is it okay if the husband deducts the TDS?
Over here, I just want to ask something. In the agreement, whether any sharing ratio is there, is mentioned?
No.
So, as per the, whenever the agreement, sharing ratio is not mentioned, then we have to see the lookout. It says that who is making the payment is the owner. So, since the husband has made the full payment, the TDS would be deducted in the husband name only. But for the safeguard of the buyer, I always request that you correct or you take a letter or an declaration that the full payment is made from my account and a declaration under Rule 37BA from the husband stating that we are the joint holder and all the TDS is to be deducted in my name. So if this two document is there, then you are safeguarding the buyer from any future loan.
I think you can also get help from just remembering the basics of TDS philosophy. Any TDS liability will arise on the payer at the time of credit or payment. So if I am doing that part, I am liable. If he is doing that part, he is liable. It doesn't matter, we are husband, wife, we are friends, that doesn't matter.
We are unable to modify the TDS amount where deductee is without PAN.
In the business return, if you have marked the transaction with C, then in that case, for the system for the paper of which you utilizing, they have got that the TDS amount cannot be changed. Only the TDS amount, but you can change the amount, everything you can change, but the TDS amount cannot be changed. Because we have earlier seen that there was basically that many people were adding the PAN number and then giving the TDS amount and then transferring the PAN TDS order time. So for which utilization, whenever the transaction is flagged with C, that transaction, the TDS amount has been drawn. You cannot do any modification on that time, on that amount.
It takes time to modification is required in annexure 2 of salary data part B. Can you explain the process to reduce this time?
See, currently modification means modification ID is not allowed in the annexure part 2. The only thing is allowed, you can delete that entry and you have to add a new one. So if you are deleting it, processing, see, e-traces and e-file portal, both are different portals. So you can rectify or you can process the return over here. It will get processed within 7 days. Right? To reflect on e-file portal, it takes time. Because there is a communication gap is there that a particular time interval is there. That within that period only they are going to interact. So in that batch file only they are going to process. So because of this time mistake are taking.
So in certain older years, returns of 2013, 14, 14, 15 and 15, 16, the challenge are not being reflected online. How do you rectify those demands if the demand is raised and I have already paid the challan? I'm not able to see the challan to modify those returns.
A department has blocked the two channels. earlier period challan, that is from 7, 8 till 12, 13, 13, 14, they have blocked the challan. Once the challan gets blocked, it is not going to visible to you on traces portal. Same way, even income tax officer is not going to view that challan. The only thing is that if you want to view it, you can view that challan on NSA portal, Ulta View. Through Ulta View, check the challan, make if it is visible, take the details of that challan. Challan serial number, challan date, challan amount. Give that detail to the assessing officer, then only assessing officer will be able to view that channel. Unless and until these three data are available, assessing officer will not be able to view whether any channel has been blocked or not. And blocking is purposely done by the department so that we are 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10. The condition was that 80% kind is required, then only you are allowed to find it. So many times, many people at that time, they file that return only with the verified which they have. Let's say to for now, next all channels, they have not added a deductible. And now, when they are seeing that they have channel, they have the available. So they are trying to take the refund of that channel, or they are trying to adjust that channel with their future demand. So to stop that thing, they have blocked the channel. And for unblocking, you have to raise a request. With the request, please provide the challan detail. If you are not providing the challan detail, even exercising officer will not be able to see it. So if you are providing the challan detail, three things is required: BSR code, challan serial number, challan date, which is easily available on places called NS Ulta. So after these three things, it will be the department will come to know and they will just recheck, verify whether you are the general folder, and for that person you if you are to rectify, they will just unblock it. After unblocking, you can do it. So for unblocking also, they have to raise the request to places. So I would require that whatever document you are providing, provide the soft copy of that document also. And the soft copy size should be less than 2 MB.
How do you rectify returns from assessment year 7, 8 to 12, 13, where those returns were manual? The traces system shows that demand. I have those challenge, I have those paper returns. How do you rectify those old demands?
See, for paper returns, the paper correction procedure is not. So if you want to rectify that return, the proper procedure is that you have to cancel your paper return and simultaneously on that time only. If you are making a time between cancellation and return, then there may be transfer of demand. But on same day, on simultaneously you are filing a new bill, the return will get processed with the and before filing the cancellation, you need to have the original acknowledgement number or original receipt of the paper return. If you are not having that receipt number, then you have to first raise a request to the LSA office, which is located at lower. You have to mention your email ID, the period for which you want the acknowledgement number. They will provide you the acknowledgement on email. Take a printout of that receipt, send it, make a request return that I want to cancel this my paper return, and along with that, prepare a new return on whatever something you will prepare that new return, prepare a new file and submit it to your nearest TDS center, which is your whichever is your nearest TDS center. Submit it. They have at the time of submission, letter and FE file have to submit it simultaneously.
So then this process is not online.
That process is not
That process is not.
because you have filed your return paper. Offline, so offline procedure.
You already answered the question where you don't have an acknowledgement for the older years. Supposing you don't have an acknowledgement of the current year, so you have 15, 16 which are online, but you
procedure would be same.
you
Can
can
say online? Say online has been started after 20 So before that, it is there on traces portal only. So whatever you have filed through TDS center or through NSC portal, you will get a receipt from NSC department. NSC office.
at
Lower
lower.
Kamlani. It is 5th or 6th, I'm not sure, but lower Kamlani, you can ask for NSC office address and
It is at 6th floor. Yeah. So can 26 QB, in 26 QB assessment year is incorrect, can it be rectified?
It can be rectified by making the change in date of election. See, in 26 QB, you cannot select the, it is very no procedure to select the assessment year. Assessment year comes automatically depending upon the date of election. So once the date of election has been changed, it will get rectified.
Something similar to the 26 QB linking where they say TCS, the TCS is deducted and the PAN is not linked. Again, the same demand comes up 5%. Doesn't seem to be a so. There's one specific fact-driven query. In our case, there is one challan of 1 lakh rupee. The challan has 3 payments: 10,000, 20,000, 70,000. The filing of return, it's question number 16 in this thing. The filing of return, there was an error in the filing where the challan amount was put as 10,000, 20,000, 70,000 instead of 1 lakh rupees. The system is now not allowing the rectification of the mistake in financial year 19.
In whether you are making a challan correction, if you want to do the correction in the challan, then only online correction can be done. Offline correction in the challan is not allowed. So for this system also, first of all, if the error is there, only you make the error of 10,000, 20,000, and 70,000, then you just reprocess it, send a request for reprocessing, and this default will automatically get removed if you have made an error only in challan amount. Because in the current way, in the current processing system, the department is going to check the challan date, challan identification number, which is combined of user code, date, and C number. If these 3 things are there, if these 3 things are machine, then it will get processed. So if the demand of 9 is there, we just need to e-process it. Because we have seen that 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, and 10 level. So processing goes there in anything department. So of that period, the return was not processed for. So and whenever you have some this type of error, I request that we just e-process it, and for e-processing, you can make an online request. Online request, you have to just make a change, or I will not say a change also. You just make a change in the name of the authorized person. Submit it, it will get e-processed, and once it gets e-processed, the actual demand will come be generated. This type of demand will be done automatically.
Okay. In cases where interest is shown pending in TDS defaults on traces, and when interest is paid and adjusted, the system reflects additional amount of interest payable being interest on interest. This is also the case in the new IT portal. There is no provision in the act for interest on interest. How come this is being shown? How will the demands get closed in this manner?
See, the interest which you are talking is generated under section 201. Subsection is the 201. But the interest which generate afterward is get generated under section 220. 220 says that if there is a demand is there, and if you have not paid the demand, whether it is of interest or anything, the 220 doesn't specify the demand should be of any code. 220 says that if there is a demand is there, and if you are not paying the demand within a specific time, 30 days, then you have to make the interest on that due.
In this case, we got the demand with the cost deduction plus interest.
Yes.
It was paid next day. And within 3 days, we find the TDS revised system. Then after again the demand takes for the interest.
So,
Whatever the demand notice was generated, then you have to pay X amount of interest. Same amount paid, everything paid. Again that additional interest amount paid.
वेट करने के बाद एक आता रहता है.
So the whole idea was, that was my question, that how do you end this? How do you end this? Because as soon as I pay the interest, it'll for the next month it release it further interest.
see, the demand is generated by system. And it gets communicated to us in 8 times. Generally, if you are waiting for a paper application, we check check the date of demand generated for this report. Justification report, the date is there. That date
can be ended. How it can be ended? Sir, Randy sir, can you highlight this? बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है मेंबर्स का. 100 रुपए इंटरेस्ट भरा बाद में 10 रुपया जाता 10 भरा तो 5 में से आ जाता 5 एक आ जाता
One second, let's allow him to speak. Let's.
I think the query is related to that there was some demand earlier, which has been paid within time. Immediately. it will be paid.
Yes.
So what do you mean by immediately?
Within 2 days.
Of what? day?
We got a demand notice.
Okay.
See, on the date of demand notice, normally when it comes, you have got 30 days, but it's within 2 days.
Right. Okay.
And then the revised return file within another 5 days after taking into that.
So see, legally this should not happen. Because you
Yeah.
have paid the demand, there is no question of 220 interest or what, under whatever section. If this is happening, then this needs to be taken up.
This tax paying capacity only. Let's not get into it. No, we need to represent for this. We'll represent for that.
ISD to say directly give us a list of such issues
Yeah.
which are more because of the technical issues, system related issues. Because legally what you are saying is correct. Demand I have paid within 30 days, there is no question of.
सर ये करवाइए जरा बोल के
Take it up.
In rare cases, there are certain challenges. There are a lot of questions. We'll move ahead. In rare cases, there are certain challenges which is paid and copy of the copy is with assessee. But when being added to traces, it is not getting accepted. For instance, in enclosing a recent challan paid, which is not getting added to traces. So I have paid the challan. The challan does not show up on the traces side. I have a copy of the challan. And when traces is contacted, it says that this is a technical error. You need to wait for it, and after waiting also it does not get reflected. How does one solve this?
In rare cases, I would say that this was happened 2 times. Recently, this was happened 2 times, that the challan was paid, but it was not reflected. And it is because the challan was, when the challan was paid, it was paid through Ulta or through Ulta banking. The batch file, which was shared by the NSDA to the department, complete batch was not shared. One of the batch file was missed. Because of it, some challan were not shown to the department, and your department was also not known. We have raised the issue with the traces department. They have contacted the NSDA office, and they computed the particular sum batch file was missed. And afterwards, when the issue was, they have contacted to the NSDA department. NSDA department has sent the full batch file, and then it gets reflected. So it may happen that a batch file may miss, because recently 2 times I have seen that this happened.
No, he said the person has sent a challan, so challan copy. It is understood.
As soon as you make the payment.
Yeah.
But sometimes the batch file doesn't come with the student traces department. So because of this.
How to resolve it? So the thing is, how do you resolve it?
How to resolve, I request that you make a user only or keep a traces portal. If you make a traces portal, the officer will always check and reply. And if they come to know particular challan, then we will try to find out where the challan has been stopped. Because we have provided a particular challan copy to the officer. And at that time they concluded that this batch file was not received by us.
So it is to be done manual or on traces?
On traces portal.
On traces.
On traces portal.
Sir, major issues members are facing is related to grievance settlement and this sort of a help desk issue. See, help desk issue, how to, when we are stuck, whom to contact. See, problem is when we email them, they take 2-3 days time to give the answer, and answer is some standard answers they send, which doesn't help to resolve the issue. If we try to call them on telephone, nobody is picking up the call, it goes on and goes on. They give some WebEx links, nobody is attending. So unfortunately, the members are not having any answer how to resolve the issue. At the same time, we are time bound. Particular date will have to upload the return. So whatever is a little information available, even if knowing that this is information is incorrect or we are unable to process it, we have to follow the time, we have to do it. So major issue is we need to have some proper help desk who can resolve the issue online and give the correct answer. And that is what I think majority issue gets resolved. The problem is related to the feedback that you are referring. If somebody should respond, because issues will keep coming up, we cannot do anything with those, because it's a system driven thing, so issues will keep coming up. So you need a feedback and a response in time. So that obviously they will have to do something with this. One thing you can do in the meantime, you can approach the assessing officer, because assessing officer also can contact the CPC or president, whoever is responsible for that. So this can be a two-way channel. You can also contact CPC, they can also contact CPC. This is for the meantime, but obviously you need a system which is responsive to this.
If a non-resident does not have a PAN number, TDS is deducted under treaty at 15%. How do you file Form 17 and how do you issue a certificate of non-resident claiming credit in his country?
2017.
Yeah, 2017.
See, whenever you have deducted the TDS as per DPWH, then in the request, you have to mention, because there are options there, whether TDS is deducted as per income tax or TDS is deducted as per DPWH. So you have to select as per DPWH, you have to select the nature of income, you have to select the country code, proper country code. You have to provide the tax identification number, address, and private detail. If all of these things are properly filed, then the return will get processed without any default with 15% also. And now the second question, that how to provide a certificate if there is no benefit. So for that also, the department has provided that you can download TBR report. TBR report is a TBS certificate for a non-resident who doesn't have the PAN number. So you can download the TBR from the basis portal, same way like Form 16. जैसा Form 16 में डाउनलोड करते हो, वैसे आपको TBR रिपोर्ट डाउनलोड करता है। और TBR रिपोर्ट क्या है? एक तरह का सर्टिफिकेट है, which is a TBS certificate, but टाइम नहीं आता उसके अंदर रेफरेंस नंबर है। तो रेफरेंस नंबर से वो TBR रिपोर्ट जनरेट होगा। तब वो TBR रिपोर्ट जो है, वो अपने ऐप को दे सकते हो in case of TBS certificate. तो your TBS certificate.
The SSE has deducted and paid TDS of 1% on the job charges on the basis of the PAN provided, PAN numbers provided by deductee. Now IT department have linked PAN and with Aadhaar card. I think it's the same thing, same thing. So, in Chalan, when mobile number is linked with PAN, why we need DSC for online correction? When mobile number is linked with PAN, why do you need DSC with online correction? Is the query. Can it be done without the DSC through the mobile OTP? Aadhaar.
Currently, Crisis portal has not incorporated this Aadhaar OTP, but in e-filing portal, it is there. So for filing of the return, you can do with Aadhaar OTP also. But for cases, we have already requested and the department is working on it. I think so 2.0, cases 2.0 is going to come very soon. So in that, this will be taken place.
So bank deducts TDS based on pases. So if you look at the bank TDS deducts on pases, in income tax we do it on a rounding off basis. So the question is that why doesn't the bank comply with the IT rules of rounding off? I really don't think this is a question which he can answer, but since it's
department only says that while making of challan, it should be rounding off the rules. But while deducting, it doesn't say that it should not it should be rounded. So the Crisis portal also calculates the same thing. While calculating TDS amount, it will take till 2 decimal, but while making the total challan amount, it would be rounded up to nearest decimal.
There is a 100-day penalty for non-issue of TDS certificate.
Rupees 100 for non-issue of TDS certificate.
Now the question is that in majority of the cases, these credits already appear in the 26 AS. And in some of the cases, people have forgotten to download those certificates. So there's a huge penalty being raised for such issues where the credit is rightly already gone.
Currently, department source OTP doesn't raise this penalty. Unless until some DLT make a complaint to the department that this DLT has not provided with TDS certificate on time, then only they are charging this penalty. Then so probably department is not charging differently.
We are receiving many, grievances by the police, we have police. And mostly in old cases. So when we contact the deductors, they say, "Sir, we cannot do anything. 7 years have passed. We cannot pass to zero after that." So we are asking them under this 271H that we are still liable for this because we are not issued certificate. So this is what it is.
So this is a specific query with regard to army man receives the pension and TDS in deduction, but the Sparsh Defense Department using cash system and not in the accrual system. And due to this, the March month salary TDS reflected in 26 days in the month of April 23, whereas the individual person claimed TDS in March 23. So what is the solution to the army men get the notice for the TDS non-deduction?
I think this is a very old this thing that we have been facing where there is the issue of this cash versus
Mercantile system.
And this has to be rectified, I think.
Now you have 115.19 also to claim the refund.
This has to be rectified.
This has to be rectified.
This is not the argument.
This is for all government employees, because for government employees, the payment of March is received in the month or in the month of first April, on first April. So not only for government employees, all government employees, and that's why for government employees, its financial year start from March and end till Feb. If you see the form 16 of any government employee, they will be doing the same thing only, March till Feb.
So there is again a query on linking of PAN and Aadhaar, and if it could be made online, like sir said. So I'm not taking it again, whoever is given it. Installing DSC and EM sign, lot of problems in DSC registration. Any online assistance from department?
I will not say online assistance, but before installing new signers, check your Java version is proper or not. Because the Java version should be above 800 to 161. If the Java version is above that, then the new signer will run properly. And after installing it, click run that EM signer as an administrator. Because many times many people say, "हमने Java सब install कर लिया फिर भी नहीं हो रहा है." But before running it, run that Java EM signer as an administrator, then it will run very smoothly.
No, if it is a 32-bit, so the problem is whether it is a 64-bit or 32-bit. And you need to see whether it's a 64-bit. Unless it's a 64-bit, Java 8 will not run. So you use some other PC which is a 64-bit.
Always advising to my for my system that keep separate system for GST and keep separate from intertext. Keep finding it.
Let's
get the things done on the computer, that would be very fine.
let's not get into.
Even the software guy many times go from year to year, but he's not able to take up.
Many times each EM signer जो अगर एक ही सिस्टम में दो अलग-अलग लगेगा, ई फाइलिंग के अलग EM signer है, तो वो फिट नहीं कर रहा। तो क्लैश हो रहा है, इसके लिए सेपरेट सिस्टम है ना। मेरा क्वेश्चन आप क्या करो, आपको पुराना EM signer अगर आपको सेम सिस्टम में रन करना है, तो जितने टाइम रन करना है उससे पहले आप उसको अनइंस्टॉल करो और जो करना है उसका EM signer रन करके फिर आप उसको
देखिए गवर्नमेंट के अलग-अलग डिपार्टमेंट एक सिंगल प्रोजेक्ट को भी रखे कि यही जावा चाहिए सब
It's not the issue of Java, it is the issue of EM signer.
मेरा कोई एक आदमी है, उसका एक ही पीसी है, तो इसके क्या दो पीसी होते हैं?
Asking for online support from the department. That's not my question. Then you try in the ground when this access again. Okay,
technical IT guys, chartered accountants, some technical. Still we are struggling with the things IT वाले को focus कर दीजिए. इन डिपार्टमेंट हेल्प कर दी जाए. अगर किसी को कोई क्या कोई any rest लेके या कुछ किया होगा देखो कुछ गाइड नहीं होगा. बहुत टाइम लगेगा. And we are frustrated.
I think JSC already raised this issue of this feedback or the responsiveness from the CPC, TDS and places. So that may be of help because local office cannot be of help. These things are beyond our.
Chatbots are.
They can incorporate the yes, to the chatbot. But are they really helpful? Because I have seen in many private sites, they are not that helpful. I have my experience of many private sites. Yeah, they are only.
Some chatbots are supported at backend. When you have a chat box which is AI driven, you might not be able to do it. But certain chat boxes are supported through a backend system where they will respond.
I think the issue boils down to the responsiveness from the system. Who has burdened you with these things that you follow this, you download this software. So somebody should respond to okay, this issue is coming, how to deal with it. Or what is the actual issue at your end because of which you are not able to go ahead. Right?
That's a small suggestion of what and even kind of organ so or that's not currently or even under not only one it will work always. Technical improvement, 32 64 also one, it's very simple, but one even kind of at the time it will work always. I'm saying practically no issue. Thank you.
Yeah, that's one solution. Yeah. In case of purchase of property, being under construction building, demand raised by builder twice a month. So according to law, we have to file the return for every payment. So client has to file 2 return during 26 QB. Can client file a single 26 QB?
It is allowed, as per the rule, it would be 226 GB per month.
Per month.
Yes.
So if number of times you make payment, you
Each will.
But they consolidate because you pay within 30 days from the month end.
You can calculate it, but the date of deduction what you will show.
Yeah.
date of deduction will be incorrect. Date of deduction will be.
Because it is per transaction.
Yeah, it is perfect.
So this is also one of the suggestions which could be put up, where you could have in a system 26 QB, you give me, allow me to put during that month number of months.
See, there is a difference between TDS return and this 26 QB return.
No.
Generally, all returns are challan verified, but this isn't return per come. So first return is filed in challan verified.
Yeah, so you could give me an option of, when I'm saying more than one payment, you could give me an option in that form itself.
Yes.
If it could be worked out. That's a suggestion which could be put up.
But I think that will require a change in law.
No, it doesn't require a change in law. The law says within 30 days, but the systems make me pay every time I pay a TDS challan.
30 days from the end of the month.
So
month more than one payment is paid, why we are not allowed to write one?
So otherwise what happens in like this, every month I'm filing 2 to 26 QBs, making life miserable every time.
The department that not only this, if there are more than one buyer also, then also this system should be allowed that only one single buyer, we can add
I've not taken that query. There's a query where they say there are 4 buyers, there are 3 sellers. And yeah, so I've not taken that query because it make life miserable.
Natural psychology, when there is an exam, for example, examiner wants to put the most difficult question to the student.
Yes, you're not like it. Yeah. Some cases above only difference is demand for different months. Can be paid in advance to avoid regular payment of challan. So in this example, which he's asking you that if I have an 8 crore flat, I first in first challan itself, I pay 8 lakh rupees, saying this is the agreement value. Is this possible?
This is possible. This is possible. Because many.
That's what the question is. Whoever is given this is what is being asked, right?
And also one more thing, that it is 2060, but for 2060 also, if you want to make the challan payment advance, you can make the challan payment. See, I think 10 September 2014, department had issued an advisory note. We said that instead of making the multiple challan in a month, like for 194, 194C different challan, 194 in different challan, and even in 194C also corporate, non-corporate, instead of that, you can make one single challan for particular return. And that challan can be utilized for 2 consecutive years. Plus one, minus one. Finally, 3 years. So instead of making multiple challan, you can make one challan in advance, and then that challan you can use in future year. And in case you are not being able to use it, in the next year also you can use it. I know any section. I'm not adding any section.
Section is portable.
Section is not loading.
I think except salary.
No, and that challan can be utilized anyone 26Q, 27Q, 27EQ, and 24Q.
Okay, so that portability is not.
In the section at the time of making the payment is of no use by processing of the. It is only there because it is coming from 70 onwards. So it is a legacy because of which we are entering section number. But currently the section number in the challan is of no use. After 2012, this cases was introduced from 1st October 2012. So if you notice one important change in before 12 and after 12 is the section number. Before 12, the section number was to be entered in the challan sheet. After 12, the section number has to be entered in the liberty sheet. So particular challan, you can enter n number of challan, n number of sections, 194C, 194J, 194K, any section. But I have seen that there are many software available in the market which is not allowing this. वहां पर क्या है जो वो सॉफ्टवेयर के अंदर इश्यूज है कि आपको चालान के अंदर ही सेक्शन नंबर देना पड़ा वो अभी भी पुराना सिस्टम चल रहा है ये दे हैव नॉट अपडेटेड इट बट द सेक्शन नंबर इज इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इन liberty sheet not in the चालान sheet.
Better it can be done ki while making the payment, it should not ask for any section.
So it is coming because of the legal. It is legal department.
No, it's the software issue. It's not the legacy. So department.
That challan as a result of the payment.
But sir, instead of TDS, by mistake, accountant has paid TCS channel. They
No, you can use that challan. You can use it. The TDS also. See the section number in the challan. Currently, department is not checking it. Whatever section you mentioned in the challan at the time of making the payment. The section which you are entering in the return is most important. That section will only come. They will check only that section and no other section.
Yeah. How to solve short deduction for NRIs whose TDS is deducted under DTA, where TDS return is correctly corrected by with option of DTA.
For DTA,
So if can you do correction of that?
yes, we can do the correction.
Sir, I had one question in Google form, I think it was not.
Regarding
There was a client whose partnership firm has been converted to private limited in 2008. Now they are receiving demand notice from the TDS department for 2008 and earlier years. They have never registered on Traces. Now they don't have all the details to get the registration done. And we contacted Traces also on how, is there any other way to get registration for 2008 on Traces? So they said, you need the provisional number and the details, then only you can register.
See,
So how do we go about this?
See, the proper procedure is that we request the department for a consultant. Second, which is not.
Sorry to interrupt. We are not able to register on Traces. So
no, you have to go to physical.
Physical, you have to request the department. They will provide you the control file. In rare cases like this. I will not say for everyone has to go. In rare cases like this, you can according to the department. Or if you are facing it very difficult to do that also, then I will advise one more thing, that you can find 1 milliliter of this product. Because time is active.
okay.
And that detail you can use to register everything and you can use that detail. This is the practical answer. Which you can provide me. The proper procedure also I have already provided, that you have to make a request to the department for the consultant. Practical solution, we find on daily time, and based on that, you can submission on your business portal, and you can get all the data.
Thank you.
But, CPC again will harass you because after so many years you have filed with them. So again, your time will be flat. So it is better to approach the department for a request along with the document that this was the case earlier, now this is the company. So we need the details so that we can remove the beyond
The purchase of property not made, TDS for assessment year, financial year 22-23. The seller has filed no return for financial year 23 also. So now if purchaser makes TDS, how can seller claim TDS? Like, yeah. No, so someone has written this query which is not clear. Yeah.
Purchaser has not trusted it, yes, he's forgotten to set up. In 23rd, now seller has already filed and returned for AY 23-24.
No, but you can repeat the question because everyone is not.
So the purchaser has forgotten in any case to deduct the TDS on property.
Okay.
But now the seller has filed his return for AY 23-24, which is realized that this was forgotten. Now, how can he claim the TDS when it's a purchaser, that the TDS is getting a notice from the TDS department that you have not settled the TDS? The purchaser is now going to make the TDS. Now, how the seller is going to get the TDS?
So now the, can you follow what option is there?
Yeah, but then you already filed the return and when you take the return, you cannot claim the refund.
You can claim it under 115. So, no, for
in your ITR, you can show it as a brought forward.
So the TDS has the seller return of income has gone without claiming the TDS.
yeah. No, so the TDS is now being deducted in which year? In the current year. So when the current year TDS is deducted,
I have to put the TDS setting.
yeah.
I have to deduct the TDS setting. I also have to deduct the TDS.
So purchaser made the payment without deducting TDS. Seller on his part has rightly paid the income, filed the income tax return and paid the income taxes and gone. Now demand has come on the purchaser by the CPC, this TDS. So I think the 26A route is the only route available where you can say that the payee has already.
26A form.
No, is it not applicable?
What's the telling is, buyer need not pay it because seller has already paid the taxes. That 26A you can follow. Yeah. See, yeah.
You just got to pay interest. You have to pay interest.
You have to pay. Person who is supposed to deduct.
Seller.
Interest liability has to be fulfilled. Tax liability did not pay because tax is already paid and you are certifying it. Yes, certifying.
So you can, again, that notice you can reply with this is a certificate and I'm paying the interest.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, this will not get approved.
No, this will not get uploaded on basis. Because the basis portal only on a deductor sheet, on a deductor log, this facility is there, but on a tax pay log, this facility is not there. So manually only, hard copy only, once you refer only, or then you can reply to that you have to do the payment offline. Everything will be done offline.
So this is regard to lower deduction of certificate received by applying in form 13. Here the buyer is resident and seller is non-resident. The income tax officer gives lower deduction certificate mentioning the rate and applicable surcharge and education cess. The buyer deducts the TDS as per the rate mentioned in the lower deductions and surcharge 15% and 4%. Eventually, the buyer gets short deduction with interest demand from traces asking to pay additional tax on the amount of purchase consideration of rupees 2 crore plus. The maximum surcharge was 15%, but traces are not updated with the amendments. They applied surcharge and TDS as per income slab, due to which buyer not got demand of few lakh and have to apply for rectification, grievances, and finally traces send the matter for TDS officer who resolved the issue. Can this be avoided by systemical changes?
This system, we have already requested this change to the department, but there is a provision with that. Whenever the CPC has to do any change in the logic, there was very change in logic. So at that time, before doing this change, they need to get approval from CBD. So currently, they have still not they have not received approval from CBD because of the change has not been approved. But very soon they will get this, very soon this will get resolved.
Practically, everything is and it requires, I think, not more of not worry about some legalities also in this, because we have DTAs in hundreds of countries. And the provisions in the DTAs are different. So the issue comes from the fact that there was an issue before that the DD rate is supposed 10%, so we used to levy surcharge and say so. So it went up to some certain legal forums, and they say that no, DD rate is fine, but you cannot levy surcharge. Yes. So
but for capital gain, there is no there are but now also
Yeah, the last question. Dividend distribution check challan paid mistakenly in TDS challan for assessment year 2004-5 by the company accountant. The income tax refund due to the company is adjusted against the tax demanded for DTD, dividend distribution tax. No refund is received for the DDT paid in TDS challan. How do we get this refund?
see, dividend distribution tax is a time-based challenge. TDS is a time-based challenge. So whenever you want to request for correction in the time-based and time-based challenge, you have to make a request to both the departments. Many a time you see that people will only do the request to only one department. But over here, since two departments are involved, two everything officer are involved. So you have to make the correction to the application to both the departments. Even to assessing officer of DTW and then to assessing officer of TEN. So once once you make a request, over here what will happen, that you have to make a request to the assessing officer of TEN and make the correction in the chart and make it pending. And then assessing officer will send a request to the assessing officer that this correction need to get, and this assessing officer then approve it, then this correction. So you need to contact the department and in some cases you need to go and soft copy of the application to let it form and the channel.
practical problem here is, when we approach the department, the 10 department, it is a matter of 2004-5. It is the issue which we have faced in our firm, that is why I know the facts. The 10 department argument is we don't have access to the IT portal. We cannot look at whether this credit is taken or not. And IT department argument is we do not have access to the 10 department portal. So traces portal. So the by mistake dividend distribution tax paid in TDS channel, whether this TDS you have taken credit or not, we will not able to know. So
And this question will request the 10 check and verify and 10 days will approve it, then only we get. So what request?
Challenge cannot be rectified with the 10 days.
Challenge can be rectified.
That's what we were. One case, in some case is there, no, where the tax was paid in the TDP. Wrongly, they were not supposed to pay TDP. They not they, but they were supposed to direct TDS. They somehow changed from the PAN to the TAN. Now they have asked for the refund or adjustment. These are the facts. Can be done, but in the through proper channel,
Yeah, now last question from the floor. Huh? Huh.
सर इसमें क्या है वो लोग प्रॉपर चैनल आप सीपीसी में डाल सीपीसी में अप्लाई करते हैं और उनके डॉक्यूमेंट बॉन्ड होता है जैसे इंडियन की बॉन्ड और चैनल की कॉपी वगैरह डालते हैं हम अपना डिटेल लिख के देते हैं तो उसके बाद वो और वन ऑफ एडिशनल या इंग्लिश इसका नाम फिर से इधर एसएससी को फिर से रिकॉल के लिए अप्लाई करना Sir, one last question on short reduction.
Yeah.
Sir, we have very short reduction in salary TDS, and there is a demand. Now, we are unable to identify the deductee and we are sure that we will not get the CA certificate. So now we want to pay the demand. So what is the procedure? Directly we want to pay the demand. So what is the correct route? So what's the demand?
A short deduction in salary is there. Then first you have to add the challan in the quarter 4 return, 24 to quarter 4 return, add the deductee, and then make a correction in that deductee, annexation.
The deductee is not traceable. These demands are based on the basis order. These are like old demands.
Also, when you have to download the consumer.
Yeah, but we have to pay the demand. We don't have the CA certificate.
No, sir, CA certificate is not required. See, for any demand, if you're paying it, you have to file the correction statement. Unless you don't file the correction statement, it will not get removed.
For short deduction.
For short deduction, and not only short deduction, every demand. Short deduction, short payment, interest, anything. Unless you don't file the correction statement, demand will not get removed. See, this system is totally on a system basis. It is not like a manual intervention there. No manual intervention. आप जो भी आपका पेमेंट है, आपने पेमेंट कर दिया, right? Unless until you don't have the correction statement, department will not come to know कि आपने ये पेमेंट किसके लिए किया है. अगर आपने पेमेंट कर दिया और correction statement कर दिया, फाइन कर दिया, तो ये डिमांड नहीं है.
We don't want that calculating fees account. We want to pay by way of penalty or ransom, whatever.
It will not get removed unless you pay and do a correction statement. Even if you pay, it will not get removed unless you file a correction statement.
First, you have to add the channel, add the deductee, then in the annexation 2, you have to delete that deductee and add that deductee concept. Justification report you can come to know. From justification report you can come to know the deductee.
Yes. Next question. Yeah, one.
Last question. Am I allowed?
Yeah.
Am I allowed?
Yes.
This is a question regarding the non-availability of the PAN number. A dividend has been paid of 1 lakh rupees and TDS has been deducted by the company. The 80,000 has been paid to me. Now, I'm asking for TDS certificate from the company. They say we cannot give a certificate. Is it possible that the company has deducted the amount PAN number was not available? TDS certificate cannot be generated from that state. But why you are not giving a physical certificate? Is there any remedy available to me? Company has to give me the TDS certificate in the year. In the website are not there. TDS certificate was not located for the person. Certificate was issued by the company. I don't get the money, I paid the money for now. So they have to give me the 16 number account. There is no PAN number for you. But my name is there. My name is so and so, my address is so and so, you pay 1 lakh rupees. You are here to you are very 30 lakhs rupees to the bank of India. Give me the copy of the second certificate. If you do not have the second certificate, how will I buy this money? Can you guide me? Because company cannot restrict the time of issue of material. Not who was that? I have given the level, which is saying 1 lakh rupees, that's 20,000, 80,000. Excuse me, you used to have a certificate of that data, it doesn't make sense. When the question was come, certificate of related security, but what certificate was had? What one company has deducted? Whether they have paid it to the government or not, or how can I go to the income tax department, so this might go to and have a person. I find my data, I was not able to confirm. So, this certificate must be issued. One day I am issued of income certificate, not a present one, but it should be physical one. Because go to the declaration that I have collected for money, and you are saying to go to video and have a deposit. If you are not able to have no control, I have not. But for control, you must have a customer.
Yes, we've understood.
Yeah.
I would like to add something what is said.
एक second.
On.
Am I audible?
देखिए ये जो लड़ाई है ये डिडक्टर और डिडक्टी के बीच में है। जो सर्टिफिकेट है वो डिडक्टर को डिडक्टी को देना है, उसने आपको नहीं दिया। अब अगर आप इस लड़ाई को डिपार्टमेंट को बीच में लाना चाहते हैं तो आप एक ग्रीवांस रेज करिए कि डिडक्टर ने मुझे सर्टिफिकेट नहीं दिया, तो हम उसको नोटिस भेजेंगे कि तुम पे हम 272 A2G की पेनल्टी लगाएंगे। That's all we can do from the side of the department. Similar, it is similar to the case कि अगर डिडक्टर ने आपका TDS काट के जमा नहीं किया है तो हम उसको 201 का नोटिस भेजते हैं, उसकी उतनी डिमांड रेज कर देते हैं जितना उसने TDS काट के जमा नहीं किया है, लेकिन फिर भी आपको TDS क्रेडिट तभी मिलेगा when he files a correction statement. So between the fight of the director and deductee, we have a limited role. We can act according to the Income Tax Act. That you will do. But it is not in our domain if we can force the director to provide the certificate to you. We can raise a penalty on him, which we can do according to the act. That what's all I think the department can do from our side.
Can I add something?
एक चीज है, आपका 205 का immunity मिलेगा और वो आपका डिमांड उसको नहीं मिलेगा। That what department can do for you is we can immunity from the demand collection because you get immunity under section 205 of the act. So you raise a ticket on this issue before the officer, they can take all these actions which are 2011, everything they can take. What is the assessment here, please? Assessment here.
Assessment year कौन सा है आपका?
If you know that if you want to have evidence of this one, in one area, I will question on it. Then question we have for admin information 71, which is for reading the own videos of different kinds. Like that, some forms of that, we will see that the parliament was not available, and then company is something. Then we definitely will take the I think five complaint with the concerned officer is okay, but there should be some, so why should we manage somebody? I'm there to clean, if I'm not coming to clean, okay, they're there.
That's
It's not a man, it's a medical thing that I'm facing for the last 7 years, but.
Yeah, let the mic come in the front. There are some questions here.
Linking of the PAN card and Aadhaar card for the NRI should have been exempted. One of my client has not visited India in last 10 years. He's on the but he's exempted.
Non-residents are exempted from linking.
But his PAN and Aadhaar shows inactive and he is unable to.
I think jurisdiction, you have to write a letter to the jurisdiction office, assessing officer, he'll unblock the PAN number.
SSA made payment on 26 but by mistake, he quoted and deducted in his own pen. He had to take the possession of the property, so he has to make another challenge and proper challenge. Now we want to take the refund. What is the procedure?
Apply.
Yes, credit is approved 26 है, but the return में वो हमने claim किया था, but CPCA don't allow daily credit.
So that will be corrected. So that will be done by the
You can get it corrected then.
What he's saying is that he has already paid the right payment.
Right payment.
He made a wrong payment.
Double payment.
Then he made the right payment. So right payment is not a problem. Now how to place the wrong payment?
I understand. There is a circular, there is a circular for claim refund of the excess TDS. There is a process order, you have to approve.
No, you don't have.
TDS office. Because you are claiming refund.
I'll give you offline.
Of the excess TDS.
Offline, I'll explain. It's on करना है.
क्योंकि आपको पहले अपना एक जो आपने रिटर्न फाइल किया है उसको पहले रेक्टिफाई करना पड़ेगा वो रिटर्न नहीं है इसका रिटर्न हुई उससे तो आपको अपना नाम पे डिलीट करना पड़ेगा और फिर उसको चलान को अवेलेबल करना पड़ेगा उसके बाद आप रिक्वेस्ट सेंड कर सकते
Even
एक मिनट, he wants to.
I wanted to say कि you have to file a 26 UD collection. Then consequently, you have to get the challan unconsumed, and after that, you have to file a 26 and take the refund. So that will be the process for the wrong payment that you have made.
yeah. Am I audible now?
This is the last question. After that, we close. It's already 1:10.
Not the least.
Yeah. Yes, please.
There are a couple of questions.
We are running out of time. Let's make it fast. Yeah, let's make it fast.
Running an NGO registered with SEBI, and we have found a lot of problems with TDS. Number one, most of the companies are deducting TDS, even though in case of individual, even though their dividend is less than 5,000 rupees. So what income tax can do is left to you. Secondly, the gentleman asked you a question. You say you reach up query. Is it possible for you to share a common email under which we can register the complaint?
You want to answer? ग्रीवेंस कौन से मेल कैसे कर सकते हैं?
ग्रीवांस के लिए आप अगर कंप्लेंट है तो उसको आप सीपी का मेल निवारण से रेज कर सकते हैं अगर डिडक्टर से रिलेटेड कंप्लेंट है तो आप कंसर्न टीडीएस ऑफिसर को भी ईमेल के थ्रू या पोस्ट के थ्रू आप अपना ग्रीवांस भेज सकते हैं
Compliance is taking its own time if you are, raising a query through a portal.
नहीं सिटीजन चार्टर में हमारी फिक्स टाइमलाइन है अगर आप सीपी ग्राम करते हैं तो उसको 30 दिन के अंदर हम ट्राई करते हैं कि रिजॉल्व करें सिमिलरली ई निवारण भी अगर आप फाइल करेंगे तो प्रॉम्प्टली हम अपने एंड से उसको डिडक्टर से रिलेटेड अगर आपका ग्रीवांस है तो हम उसको लेटर लिख के उससे इंफॉर्मेशन लेके हम ट्राई करते हैं उसको एज सून एज पॉसिबल डिस्पोज करें
Is it possible that many of the companies which I shared with you are deducting the tax, even though your dividend is less than 5,000? It's really a problematic issue for the people who are idiots like me. What is happening is that there is nobody to look at. Why can't you take up this with the state company? Not to be that tax, if the dividend is less than 5,000.
Sir, section 94, which is pertaining to dividend tax, specifically says that this 5,000 exemption is only available to individual. Other than individual, this exemption is not available. So if the company is paying this 10% as a dividend, they have to deduct the TDS.
For individual, for
section available for individual.
Sir, I am
Individual is there.
Yes.
Individual 5,000 is there.
Correct. What action income tax from your TDS department is taking against the company who is deducting this is the issue.
You can bring this to the notice of the department, then definitely department will take it up with the deductor.
Sir, I can give you nothing less than 80 companies, 80 companies.
It will be 8,000 companies, no issue, but you will have to let us know first.
8 companies.
So you give a written representation. You give a.
Something like, police, the murder is taking place in, the eyes of police. And police is asking a common man, if you lodge a complaint and do the rest.
No, please, let's not get into.
Please be cautious about the comments. If you have your suggestion, answer it.
We make a representation. We are saying we'll make a representation. You give us a list of companies, we'll make a representation from the CPE study, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, professional party, we have to restrict our.
Yes. Yeah, last question.
Last question.
If the data is processed in batch manner, why can't it happen in a real-time manner? As we said that justification report takes time, console file takes time. Everything is happening on real time today. Why this is going on in a batch mode?
There is two different sets.
Thank you.
Two different sets and huge number of data.
Very huge number of. Sir, there is a huge number of data everywhere, in income tax, in IRCTC, everywhere there is a huge number of data. Everybody is doing real time.
You have to talk to Nirmala Sitaram.
Basic business is better people to coordinate with us.
I think all the suggestions are noted by the department representatives here. As we close the session, I would like to propose a vote of thanks. Like to invite CA Dinesh Tejwani ji to propose the formal vote of thanks. Then we have a few announcements to make. Also, we have the lucky draw, which is a part of our Silver Jubilee celebration. So kindly request you all to please be seated for the next 5 minutes.
Thank you, Purvi. Good afternoon. As we come to the end of this very insightful and very interactive seminar, I stand here to extend my vote of thanks. First of all, first and foremost, I would like to thank all the officers of the Income Tax Department who spent more than 3 hours on a Sunday morning and face all the queries from.
And they came before 9:30.
Oh, they came from 9:30. Awesome.
At 9, to be very precise.
With your presentation and with your insights and experiences, we learned that what are major do's and do nots which can be used by us to reduce the number of grievances hitting your inbox, right? So that was very insightful. You also handled all the queries in a very patient manner. So our sincere gratitude and thanks to Mr. Rajneesh Yadav, Ms. Kalpana Shukla, Mr. Kolachina Suresh Kumar, Mr. Prabhat Pandey, and Mr. Nizamuddin Khan. A big round of applause. No, the list is on now.
Yeah.
Okay, next I would like to thank CA Ravi Soni, who handled the queries, along with the officers of the department. So we have learned, that for most of the questions, he had a ready solution, right? So the solutions are there. We just have to find them, right? And if there's no solution, he gave us workaround. And at few places, he gave us how to trick the system also.
Technical answer.
Very technical answers, yeah. So very
Not technical,
technical everywhere. Yes. So big thank you, CA Ravi Soni. Next, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to CA Ashok Mehta. I invited him. He's part of, Chamber of Tax Consultant, and I invited him to moderate this session. And because he has been handling it on behalf of CTC also, he readily agreed. He collated all the questions and he presented them nicely. He also asked, all the follow-up questions. So big round of applause for. Last but not the least, I would like to say a big thanks to CA Jayesh Shah, because of whose efforts this session was made possible.
Yeah.
Also, thanks to conveners, CA Mahesh Bagaria and CA Haridas Bhatt. And last, coordinator, sorry. So she's the convener, so yeah, sorry. And last but not the least, a big thank you to all of you for being present and then patiently hearing the session.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dinesh ji. Just as a part for better management, we have started circulating registration forms for our meetings in advance. I request you all to please do register so that we get an idea of the number of people that will be attending the event for better seating and food arrangements. This event also, I got registrations for around 225 and more than much larger number of people have come here. So request once again to kindly please register. So it helps us for better management. We do not want people to come and keep standing here. We want proper seating arrangements to be made in advance. Now,
Instead of registration, can you put a vote on the group whether you are attending yes or no?
we can do that also. We can do that also.
But then just because of,
Registration, registration forms makes it easier for us to derive the data in Excel and then we can sort it and do other calculations also. That is why we put in a Google form. It's just a very simple form, just a name, phone number, and I think membership number we ask for, nothing else. So request you all to, those who do not register, to kindly please register from the upcoming meetings for the future.
We are 10 minutes late. We should have made it in the beginning.
I should have. I missed that. My apologies. I'll also post the message in the group for all those who have not come today. Now proceeding towards our lucky draw, I would request our dignitaries today to please pick out 3 chits from the participants. This is we are celebrating Silver Jubilee year for the JBNM Study Circle. So we have lucky draw for the participants.